Hello, well standard students, how are you? I hope you are fine and alright, and your health is in the mint condition. I hope that, and I know that you are all alright and doing fine. So, today we would be moving forward in our English, okay, in terms of syllabus, we would be moving forward. So, in the last session, we had started the Tiger King. We had completed the three sections from that chapter, and today we would be starting with the fourth section. And as you can see on the board, I have written the name of the another chapter, that is Journey to the End of Earth. We shall be trying to wrap up that chapter soon because this chapter isn't so lengthy. So now, without wasting any time, let us first move forward with the Tiger King, and then I would be taking care of our next chapter. But let me tell you, we would be going in a very systematic way. We would be going through each and every single statement that is printed in our textbook. So now, without wasting any time, let us start. So I'm starting from the fourth section from where we had left. Okay, so in the last section we had seen that there was a British officer and he wanted to hunt the tiger, but the our king, okay, he denied, and he had even sent gifts to his wife. So in short, everything was wrapped up and things were quite clear for the Tiger King in the sense that no one would be hunting apart from him. Now let us start with our fourth section. The Maharaja's tiger hunts continued to be highly successful. Yes, he was really a healthy king and he was really killing all the tigers. Within 10 years, he was able to kill 70 tigers. Okay, so in 10 years, he had killed 70. Now his target is to reach 100 because once he kills 100 tigers, so tigers would not be killing our king, okay, because that was the future that was told by the chief astrologer when he had taken birth. And then an unforeseen hurdle brought his mission to a standstill. The tiger population became extinct in forest of Prativanpura. Okay, that's a problem too, okay. He had killed all the tigers, so now there are no more tigers to hunt. Now let us see what happens. Who knows whether the tiger practiced birth control or committed harakiri? Okay, it's a kind of a good joke. The harakiri is a Japanese word. Okay, it means a suicide. That's called harakiri. Or simply ran away from the state because they desired to be shot by British hands alone. Okay. One day the Maharaja sent for the Diwan. Diwan said, "Aren't you aware of the fact that 30 tigers still remain to be shot down by this gun of mine?" He asked, brandishing his gun. Okay, so he's just telling that still there would be more 30 tigers that would be killed by me. That's what he's saying to Diwan Sahib. Shuddering at the sight of the gun, the Diwan cried out, "Your Majesty, I'm not a tiger." "Which idiot would call you a tiger?" "No, and I'm not a gun." "You are neither tiger nor gun," Diwan said. "I summoned you here for a different purpose. I have decided to get married." Okay, so the Diwan Sahib was called by the king, and the king is telling to him that he wishes to get married. Okay, so even the king has to take care, okay, about his marriage. So he told the Diwan Sahib about that. Now let us see what Diwan Sahib does for the king. The Diwan began to babble even more. "Your Majesty, I have 2 wives already. If I marry you..." Okay. It's just a good joke, okay, comedy. Okay, so Diwan Sahib is thinking that the king would be marrying, or Diwan Sahib thought that king asked to marry him, okay. But it's just a good joke, okay. But but the Divan Sahib, he has already 2 wives. How many wives he has? 2. Alright. Okay, so don't talk nonsense. Why should I marry you? What I want is a tiger. Your Majesty, please think it over. Your ancestors were married to the sword. If you like, marry the gun. A tiger king is more than enough for this state. It doesn't need a tiger queen as well. So I think Divan Sahib is a very, very good person. Okay, he is telling to the king to not to get married. Okay, because for Divan Sahib, he doesn't need any tiger queen because there is already a tiger king. Wow, that is fantastic. So this Divan Sahib is a very good person. He knows what happens after getting married. Actually, he has 2 wives, okay? He has 2 wives. The Maharaja gave a loud crack of laughter. I'm not thinking of marrying either a tiger or a god, but a girl from the ranks of human beings. Okay, he is very clear that he wants to get married to a girl and she should be a human being, not from another species. First, you may draw up statistics of tiger populations in the different native states. Next, you may investigate if there is a girl I can marry in the royal family of a state with a large tiger population. So indeed, he would be using his wife in what way or in which manner so that the tiger king can get a chance to kill many tigers or as many tigers as he can. Okay, because he still needs that figure of 100. Afterwards he would be safe. Alright, it's getting quite interesting. The Divan followed his order. He found the right girl from a state which possessed a large numbers of tigers. Okay. So in short, he can visit his wife or girlfriend, whatever may be, and he can kill tigers from her area so that he can reach to his target. Maharaja killed 5 or 6 tigers each time he visited his father-in-law. Okay, the same thing I was explaining to you, the same thing is printed. In this manner, 99 tiger skins adorn the walls of the reception hall in the Pratibandhuram palace. Okay, so finally he has killed 99 tigers. So he needs only one tiger to reach his target. Afterwards, his life would be safe and secure. The Maharaja's anxiety reached a fever pitch where there remained just one tiger to achieve his tally of 100. Yes, quite clear. He had this one though during the day and the same dream at night. Okay, so he's just thinking only about one thing, to kill this 100th tiger. By this time, the tiger farms had run dry, even in his father-in-law's kingdom. Okay. It became impossible to locate tigers anywhere. Yet only one more was needed. If he could kill just that one single beast, the Maharaja would have no fears left. Yes, very clear. He could give up tiger hunting altogether. Yes, once he reaches his target of 100, he can just relax. Okay, there won't be any problem. But he had to be extremely careful with that last tiger. What had the late chief astrologer said? Even after killing 99 tigers, the Maharaja should beware of the 100th. True enough, the tiger was a savage beast after all. One had to be wary of it. But where was that 100th tiger to be found? It seemed easier to find tiger's milk than a live tiger. Okay, correct. So in short, it refers that it is very hard to get the tiger, and this our king is desperate to kill the 100th tiger. He is desperate to kill 100th tiger. Afterwards he would be safe. Okay, let's continue. Thus the Maharaja was sunk in gloom, but soon came the happy news which dispelled that gloom. In his own state, sheep began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. Okay, so ships are getting disappeared, it means that there would be tiger in the vicinity. He might be eating up the ship. So I think he would be going there. Thus the Maharaj was sunk in gloom. But soon came the happy news which dispelled that gloom. Yes, in his own state, ship began to disappear frequently from a hillside village. Yes. It was first ascertained that this was not the work of Khader Mainsaib or Viraswamy Naikar, both famed for their ability to swallow sheep alone. Okay, that's kind of disgusting, but they do that, no problem, let them do. Surely a tiger was at work. The villagers ran to inform the Maharaj. The Maharaj announced a 3-year exemption from all taxes for that village and set out on the hunt at once. Okay, so he would be really killing the tiger. Let us see what happens next. So the tiger was not easily found. It seemed as if it had wantonly hid itself in order to flout the Maharaj's will. Marx was equally determined. He refused to leave the forest until the tiger was found. As the days passed, the Maharaj's fury and obstinacy mounted alarmingly. Many officers lost their jobs. Okay, so he might be getting angry, firing people. Okay, so he really wants to kill that tiger. Okay, let's see if he can, or he won't be able to. Let's read and find out. So imagine this is like a film. Okay, so automatically entire story would be in your head. Okay, just imagine that it's a kind of a movie. One day when his rage was at its height, the Maharaj called the Diwan and ordered him to double the land tax forthwith. Okay, so now he would be even harassing the civilians by increasing the tax. The people will become discontented, then our state too will fall a prey to the Indian National Congress. So you can imagine this Congress party was even there during this period of time, okay, because the time frame here is of British India. So even during that time this Congress party was there and it is still there. In that case you may resign from your post, said the king. Okay, so he is even trying to fire the Diwan. I don't know what will happen, but in short this is kind of a ridiculous situation and the king is not really thinking what he is doing. Okay, so this is a big problem. The Diwan went on convinced that if the Maharaj did not find the tiger soon, the results would be catastrophic. Correct? Results would be very dangerous. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought him from the People's Park in Madras and kept hidden in his house. At midnight, when the town slept in peace, the Diwan and his aged wife dragged the tiger to the car and shoved it into the seat. Okay, so the Diwan is trying to have the king, okay. So he is bringing that tiger, okay, from that People's Park in Madras. Okay, he might have brought that tiger, put it in the car. Let's see, you might think the same thing might happen. Let's read. The Diwan himself drew the car straight to the forest where the Maharaj was hunting. When they reached the forest, the tiger launched his satyagraha and refused to get out of the car. The Diwan was thoroughly exhausted in his efforts to hold the beast out of the car and push it down to the ground. You know, it's very dangerous. These tigers are too heavy, I think, for a single man to lift or to pull. Okay, so let's see, it's getting quite interesting. On the following day, the same old tiger wandered into the Maharaja's presence and stood as if in humble supplication. Master, what do you command of me? It was with boundless joy that the Maharaj took careful aim at the beast. The tiger fell in a crumpled heap. Okay, so he shot at the tiger, the same tiger which the Diwan had bought in the forest. Okay, so the tiger would be thinking that he has killed the 100th tiger. Let's see. I have killed the 100th tiger. Yes, my vow has been fulfilled. The Maharaj was overcome with elation, means he was quite happy. He was quite happy. Ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. The Maharaj hasted away in his car. Okay. So even you can see that, okay, it's a British Indian and even he had a car because he is our king. Clear, so according to king, he has killed 100 tigers and he is free from the protection made by the chief astrologer. Let's see what happens next. After the Maharaj left, the hunters went to take a closer look at the tiger. The tiger looked back at them, rolling its eyes in bafflement. Okay, so it means that the 100th tiger is not dead. It's just the king that who is thinking that he had killed 100 tigers, but he haven't. The man realized that the tiger was not dead. The bullet had missed it. It had fainted from the shock of the bullet whizzing past. The hunters wondered what they should do. They decided that the Maharaj must not come to know that he had missed his target, because if they inform to the king, then king would be taking foolish decisions, he would be going crazy. That's the reason they would not be saying all these things to the king. Clear? Quite a easy thing to understand. Just pay attention, it's very easy. Just imagine like a movie. Okay, so our king had missed his target. Now you see, if he did, they could lose their jobs. Same thing I was trying to make you understand. Same thing, they would be getting fired. One of the hunters took aim from a distance of 1 foot and shot the tiger. This time he killed it without missing his mark. Okay, so one person had killed that tiger, but remember, our king hadn't killed that tiger, it was another person, not the king. Now let us see what happens with the king, okay? Very interesting, let's see. Then, as commanded by the king, the dead tiger was taken in procession through the town and buried. A tomb was erected over it. A few days later, the Maharaja's son's third birthday was celebrated. Until then, the Maharaj had given his entire mind over to tiger hunting. It means he won't be killing any more tigers. And remember, it is his son's third birthday. He had no time to spare from the crown prince, but now the king turned his attention to the child. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. He went to the shopping center in Pratibhanpuram and searched every shop, but couldn't find anything suitable. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided it was the perfect gift. So he is willing to give a tiger, that is a wooden tiger, to his son for the occasion of his third birthday. Okay. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter, but the shopkeeper knew that if he quoted such a low price to Maharaj, he would be punished under the rules of emergency. So he said, "Your Majesty, this is an extremely rare example of craftsmanship. A bargain at 300 rupees." So you know, at this time the 1 Indian rupee was approximately equal to $1 United States, okay? Okay, so at that time the economy was quite balanced. Okay, so these 300 rupees actually is not as same as 300 rupees in the present day. Okay, but so just the shopkeeper told that the wooden tiger would be costing you around 300 rupees. Now let us see what king would be saying. "Very good. Let this be an offering to the crown prince on his birthday," said the king and took it away with him. Okay. On that day, father and son played with a tiny little wooden tiger. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. His surface was rough. Tiny slivers on wood stood up like quills all over it. Yes, so it's not by a professional who has an experience of, let's say, 1 decade or 2 decade, but still that person will be learning, or it might be an amateur, who knows. One of those slivers pierced the Maharaja's right hand. He pulled it out with his left hand and continued to play with the prince. The next day, infection flared in the Maharaj's right hand. In 4 days, it developed into a suppurating sore which spread all over the arm. So this is nothing but this is just an infection. Okay, so tiny things can be very dangerous. Three famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. The operation took place. The three surgeons who performed it came out of the theater, not the film theater, okay, operation theater, and announced the operation was successful. The Maharaj is dead. In this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. So sad. He was really killed by the 100th tiger, but he was unaware that the 100th tiger would be a non-living tiger, okay, a non-living wooden tiger. So that tiger took the life of the Tiger King. Okay, so anything can happen, man, no matter what sort of person it is or what is the rank of that person. So in short, our Tiger King was killed by the toy tiger, or I would rather say wooden tiger, okay, because of the infection that had spread. So three surgeons, MBBS doctors might be there at that time. So they, I don't know, intentionally they did or unwillingly, I don't know, whatever maybe, but in short, in our story it states that the Tiger King was dead. Okay. So it is quite a shock. It is quite a shock. Okay, so after 2 to 3 minutes I will be starting the third chapter, that is Journey to the End of the Earth, written by Tishani Doshi. Okay, it's a very nice chapter. Now here, Journey to the End of the Earth, it refers to the continent Antarctica. Okay, because after Antarctica we do not have anything. Okay, it's the end of the world. So in our next chapter we would be talking about the seventh continent of the world, that is Antarctica. Which continent? Seventh continent. Okay, so after 2 minutes I would be starting our next chapter. Okay, and make sure whenever you are watching this video, keep your textbooks open, okay, so that you would be knowing what exactly it is going on in the chapter, okay, and you can pay attention. It would be really helping you to understand the chapter, because these chapters are not so hard, okay. Alright, so I think I've given you more than 2 minutes. Now let us move further with our next chapter, Journey to the End of Earth, written by Tishani Doshi. Okay. So I think he would be going to Antarctica. Now to reach Antarctica is not easy, okay? There would be many modes of transportation in the way. So I think our author might be talking about that, okay? How long does it take? Even the time zones are different. So let us see. We would be knowing everything in this chapter. So without wasting any time, let's continue. If you want to know more about the planet's past, present, and future, the Antarctica is the place to go to. Bon voyage. Bon voyage means happy journey. Those are French words. Bon voyage. Alright. Now to reach Antarctica is not easy, okay, and it would be really an expensive trip to go to Antarctica. Let us see. Early this year, I found myself aboard a Russian research vessel. Okay, so this is the Russian name. Okay, it's a vessel. Okay, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world. So this is the name of the ship that is heading towards Antarctica from Russia. The name of the ship is Academic Shokolsky. Okay, it's Academic Shokolsky. Okay, so they are going to Antarctica from Russia. I think they might be heading from Moscow to Antarctica. Now Antarctica, you see, is a huge continent, okay, so there would be a certain place like where in Antarctica. If somebody is asking you, like for an example, you would be saying that I live in Mandi, but where in Mandi, correct? So similarly here, it is like where. My journey began 13.09 degree north of the equator in Madras and it involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water and at least as many ecospheres. Yes, because his final destination is Antarctica. By the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an aeroplane and a ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder, a wonder at its immensity, its isolation, but mainly at how there could ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same land mass. Yes, this is true. Like many millions years ago, those two places were the same, but actually, a big collision had happened. Okay, so that place had swam towards where we are right now when there was a huge collision, and because of that collision the Himalayas mountain ranges were created. So that's the history. Let us read the history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent Gondwana, underline, okay, this Gondwana is very important. Gondwana did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present-day Antarctica. Things were quite different then. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna, birds and animals. For the 500 million years, Gondwana thrived, but around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out and the age of the mammals got underway, the landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the global much as we know it today. To visit Antarctica now is to be a part of that history, to even a grasp of where we have come from and where we could possibly be heading. We can know the past, but I don't think the future we can assume anything, okay? Because we are just human beings, we are not any sort of god, okay? So I don't think we would be knowing the future. But that's my point of view, okay? Everybody has different opinions. It's to understand the significance of Cordilleran faults and Precambrian granite shields, ozone and carbon, evolution and extinction. When you think about all that can happen in a million years, it can get pretty mind-boggling. Imagine India pushing northwards, jamming against Asia to buckle its crust and form the Himalayas. See the same thing that I had explained you, the same thing is written, okay? So it might have swam, man, the distance that it had swam, that's too much, man. And there might be a huge collision, okay? So I think during that time even dinosaurs might be there. I don't know. I think we need to have time travel machine, so that we can travel. But that is just fiction, okay? We don't really have time traveling machine. Let's see. South America drifting off to join North America, opening up the Drake Passage to create a cold circumpolar current, keeping Antarctica frigid, desolate, and at the bottom of the world. Okay. From a sun-worshipping South Indian like myself, 2 weeks in a place where 90% of the Earth's total ice volumes are stored is a chilling prospect. Okay, not just for circulatory and metabolic function, but also for the imagination. So it's like he would be getting tough times to imagine out there, okay, because it's really cold. You can see clearly in the picture, he shaped penguins. It's very interesting, okay, it's very nice. But see, it's like a desert, okay. It's a desert of snow. Where it can get dangerous sometimes. It's like walking into a giant ping pong ball devoid of any human markers. No trees, billboards, buildings. You lose all earthly sense of perspective and time here. The visual scale ranges from the microscopic to the mighty. Midgets and mites to blue whales and icebergs as big as countries. The largest recorded was the size of Belgium. Yes, Belgium is one of the countries in Europe. Days go on and on and on in surreal 24-hour austral summer light, interrupted only by the occasional avalanche or calving ice sheet. Concentrates the place. It's an immersion that will force you to place yourself in the context of the Earth's geological history. And for humans, the prognosis isn't good. There, yes. So he's just narrating how his experience at Antarctica was. So you cannot ask to your friend who had went to Antarctica like, which movie did you see out there? Okay, because those kind of things are not there. Even hotels, nothing. Okay, there is nothing out there. Hardly human beings would be available out there. Okay, because it's a freezing continent. It's a freezing continent. Okay, now let us see what had happened with human beings. So human impact. Which impact? Human impact. Let us see. Human civilization have been around for a paltry 12,000 years, barely a few seconds on the geological clock. In that short amount of time, we have managed to create quite a ruckus, eaching our dominance over nature with our villages, towns, cities, megacities. The rapid increase of human populations has led for us battling with other species for limited resources. And the unmitigated burning of fossil fuels has now created a blanket of carbon dioxide around the world, which is slowly but surely increasing the average global temperature. You see, as the temperature increases, then the ice would be melting from these areas, okay? So sometimes it can be tough time for certain countries or there would be a sudden change in temperature, sudden drop or sudden rise. Okay, so all these things are very dangerous. So because of that, the average temperature of Earth increases, which we call global warming. What do we call? Global warming. Climate change is one of the most hotly contested environmental debates of our time. Yes, you are quite familiar with that. Will the West Antarctic ice sheet melt entirely? Will the Gulf Stream ocean current be disrupted? Will it be the end of the world as we know it? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, Antarctica is a crucial element in this debate, not just because it's the only place in the world which has never sustained a human population and therefore remains relatively pristine in this respect. Pristine means it remains new. It remains new. But more importantly, because it holds in its ice cores half-million-year-old carbon records trapped in its layer of ice. If we want to study and examine the Earth's past, present and future, Antarctica is the place to go. Okay, so out there they might be using carbon dating method to determine how old the sample is. Okay, that people or students studying nuclear physics or nuclear chemistry to understand how old the given sample is using carbon dating method. And if a sample is billion years old, then that is determined by uranium dating methods. Okay, there are two datings, carbon and uranium. Uranium is billion, while the carbon is like 5500 years old in that area or near to that. For that we use carbon dating, so they would be using that. Now this is paragraph is most important. Make sure underline this. Students on ice, the program I was working with. Okay, so what was the program he was working with? Students on ice. Now the program I was working with on the Shokisky aims to do exactly this by taking high school students to the ends of the world and providing them with inspiring educational opportunities which will help them foster a new understanding and respect for our planet. Also, it would be a very good school out there. They would be taking students to Antarctica. It's been in operation for 6 years now, headed by Canadian Geoff Green. So who is the person who is taking care of all this program? It's Geoff Green, okay, and he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian. Who got tired of cartoon celebrities and retired? Rich curiosity seekers who could only give back in a limited way. With Students on Ice, he offers a future generation of policymakers a life-changing experience at an age when they are ready to absorb, learn, and most importantly act. So in short, he wants to help students, like, see, it's a quite different rather than to discuss about the problems and the ways how we can eradicate that problem. So if people do it practically, okay, if there is any problem or how to eradicate that. Now, rather than just talking, if people take action, then there would be the meaning of whatever that particular group is doing. Otherwise, it won't make any sense. It's just like going on and on and on, talking and talking and wasting time. Okay, so this is what this Geoff Green is aiming for. Now don't say that he is aiming to waste time, okay? He is aiming to do something in practical so that students would really realize what really happens when the temperature of the earth increases, because they would be seeing the melting of snow or glaciers with their naked eyes. So that can make the difference, and this Canadian person, Geoff Green, he is willing to do that. Okay, so they can see with their naked eyes, because the children, they would be the future for the world as well as for its country. Let us go further. The reason the program had been so successful is because it's impossible to go anywhere near the South Pole and not be affected by it. Yes, quite clear. It's easy to be blasé about polar ice caps melting while sitting in the comfort zone of our respective latitude and longitude. Yes, it's quite clear. See, whenever I am telling you the melting of glaciers and ice, for us it won't make any difference. But when we see with our naked eyes, then you would realize how pathetic the situation can be. Okay, so the best thing to describe it, there is one good statement in English like a stitch in time saves nine. It is something like that. Okay, but when you can visibly see glaciers retreating and ice shelves collapsing, you begin to realize that the threat of global warming is very real. Okay, that's the reason this global warming is a huge problem for the world. That's the reason even we are feeling kind of uneasy because of high temperature. Okay, because of the degree of hotness. Degree of hotness. Let us move further. Okay, so it's a eye-opening chapter. Antarctica, because of our simple ecosystem and lack of biodiversity, is the perfect place to study how little changes in the environment can take big repercussions. Take the microscopic phytoplankton. Okay, the biology students, you will be knowing about this thing. Those grasses of the sea that nourish and sustain the entire Southern Ocean's food chain. These single-cell plants use the sun's energy to assimilate carbon and synthesize organic compounds in that wondrous and most important of process called photosynthesis. Yes, you are quite aware about that process, that is photosynthesis. Scientists warn that a further depletion in the ozone layer will affect the activities of phytoplankton. Phytoplankton, okay, yes, which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals and birds of the region and the global carbon cycle. In the parable of the phytoplankton, there is a great metaphor for existence. Take care of the small things and the big things will fall into place. Yes, it's just like when you are solving the sum. Do first step, second step, do it properly. So automatically your answer would come. It is same like that. Do small things properly, big things would happen automatically. Like for if commerce students are watching this video, then for you it would be entry you make in your account. So if all of your entries are correct, if debit amount, credit amount is correct, then automatically you get the answer. And for 12th science people, if you are watching this video, then for you, you know that, particularly in physics, you apply the correct formula, you insert the correct value. So if you do small step properly, automatically the sum would be correct. That is, the answer would be correct because all your formulas are correct. So he wants to convey the same thing. Okay, so take care of the small things and the big things will fall into place automatically. Okay, now let us move further. Walk on the ocean. Walk on the ocean is a hyperbolic phrase, okay? My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. The Shokotski had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. Yes. The captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north, but before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. Okay, like metaphorically walk on the ocean, okay, not really. Okay, so there we were, all 52 of us, knitted out in Gore-Tex and layers, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Underneath our feet was a meter-thick ice pack, and underneath that 180 meter of living, breathing salt water. In the periphery, crab-eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. It was nothing short of a revelation. Everything does indeed connect. Correct. So he's describing his experience. Okay, seems quite interesting, okay. 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place than it once used to be? Will we be around to see it? Or would we have gone the ways of the dinosaurs, mammoth, and woolly rhinos? Who's to say? But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years, but what a difference a day makes. So it's just like a negligible. It's just like taking a bucket full of water from the ocean. I don't think an ocean would be affected if we take out a bucket of water. So it is same like this. And who knows, after million years, the Antarctica, that is icy planet now, it can be a desert. Okay, the one with sand. We never know. Okay, for that is just like think whatever you can. So that's the end of this chapter, Journey to the End of Earth. Okay, so stay tuned and stay safe. Bye for now. Thank you.